we're just going to be looking at dimensional analysis, but you say, oh, just dimensional analysis? What the heck is that? So first thing, vocab always. What does this mean? This means to convert units, which, I can change inches to feet. Okay, not a big deal. So new vocab, but what we're kind of doing is not new. The structure in which we do it is called dimensional analysis. Now you guys probably converted, inches to feet and millimeters to centimeters. One conversion to get there. We're going to be doing multiple conversions, and when you do multiple conversions, that's when you use dimensional analysis. This is especially useful, and you do a lot of it in chemistry. This isn't going to be one thing you see one time. If you're going to chemistry, this is something you do all year long. And you'll be dealing with new units. It won't be like stuff you're familiar with, like pints, quarts, and gallons. There'll be new units like joules, newtons, moles. That's how you count how many atoms are in an element, called moles. So all these new elements, but there's so many different kinds, you have to convert like 5 different ways in order to get there. So we're just going to be doing like 2. All right. So, for example, if we need to convert pints, okay, large adult male has 12 pints of blood. Okay, converted to gallons. All right. Now, just as a standard, we don't think about how many pints there are in a gallon. So we have to convert to something else in between first, then convert that to gallons. In this case, if you know, we can see right here, what measurement, what unit of measure is between pints and gallons? Quarts. And we do know as a standard, okay, there's 2 pints in a quart, 4 quarts to the gallon, so we can convert it that way. And that's what we see down here. First, start off with 12 pints. Okay. And you can see how we use a ratio. Remember, it's like, this is a ratio because there's like 2 units. Remember we said like 2 eggs to 5 cups of milk or something? Here it's 1 quart, 2 pints. Now, the biggest thing here about dimensional analysis is units. It's all about units. We're going to have the units within the problems. Usually, like word problems, we take out the units, and at the very end we have to say, when it says 5, we say 5 what? Okay, it's 5 feet. On these problems, the units stay within the problems, as you can see. Okay. Here's the thing. You're going to say either 1 quart over 2 pints, or you can say 2 pints over 1 quart. They're both equal. You have to figure out step by step which one to do. And the way you figure that out is you have to be able to cancel the units just like you would numbers. So when there's 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom, the units will cancel out and you'll be left with 1 unit. That's the unit you want for your answer. Okay. That's how we're going to decide where to put our units and whether to have it like this or to flip it. Okay. And we can see 12 times 1 is 12, over 2 is 6. Now we have to take that, bring it over here, now convert quarts to gallons. Once again, you can see how we put the quarts on the bottom, so it cancels with the quarts up here. What's left over? Just gallons. That's what we want for our answer. 6 times 1 is 6. Just 4 on the bottom. 6 over 4 is 1.5, or 1.5. So it turns out adults have about 12 pints of blood, which is 6 quarts, which is 1.5 gallons of blood. Just for all your pre-med students out there going to be doctors. Now you know. Human body, 1.5 gallons. Which is important if they're injured and they're bleeding. You kind of know, well, how long do you have to kind of stop the bleeding in order to save their life? So you can't lose more than that. Yeah. Okay. Here's a few that you probably already know. You don't need to write these down if you know them, honestly. If you know there's 12 inches in the foot, cool, right? Now, if you don't remember this from 2 days ago, that's important. 1 mile, 5,280. We did a problem that had an airplane that dropped 10,000 feet, and air traffic control said it was 1.8929 feet, or no, miles, and we figured out, okay, that means there's 1 mile is 5,280 feet. This is going to be in your homework as well, over here as well. Another one that you'll be using is that 1 inch. Oops. is 2.54 centimeters. Again, used an awful lot in the sciences because you do everything in metrics in science classes, but a lot of time we have rulers that have inches on them, so we have to convert. Okay? So very, very good at conversion as well. So let me show you how to use this stuff. One more time. Good. So let's do B together. Once again, you need to figure out if you need to use an in-between measurement if you can't go directly from one to another. Meaning here, inches to yards. Now, off the top of your head, you know how many inches are in a yard? 35. Maybe some, possibly. So if we don't know exactly for sure, we can't do a direct conversion. But do you know a unit measured between, not as short as an inch, not as long as a yard? Something in between an inch and a yard. Foot. Now, do you know how many inches are in a foot? And do you know how many feet are in a yard? 3. So that's your clue on what you need to do. It tells you I need to first convert inches to feet, then feet to yards. And that's why we have 2 steps. Convert inches to feet. Once again, you can see how, since inches are on top here, we put the inches on the bottom here. All right? And now you have 1 foot is 12 inches. That's 720 on top, 12 on the bottom. The only units not crossed off is our answer, which is feet, which is good. And then just punch that in the calculator, see what you get. $60, yes. But we're not done, right? Because we're trying to go to yards. So let's do one more. 60. You notice how the units are placed on the bottom, and this is really the newest part. This is the part that's you're gonna have to pay attention to the most. The numbers are gonna be simple. They're not gonna be too big or difficult. But if you flip this by mistake and the units don't cancel, you will come up with the wrong answer. So it's very important that if you have feet on here, you want your answer to be in yards, that you put the conversion feet on the bottom. And then we have that canceling out, so the only thing left is our units of our answer, yards. And then fill in the numbers. So we have 3 feet, 1 yard. So that's 60 on top, 33 on the bottom, therefore 20 yards. So 60 feet is 20 yards. If 720 inches is 60 feet, and 60 feet is 20 yards, therefore 720 inches is 20 yards. All right. Now, it is possible, and I'm going to show you right now, combine these 2 steps. And in some ways, it makes it a little easier. It doesn't feel like you're doing as much. Okay. By the way, we had this discussion in other classes. Pretty good. How many feet is a typical story in a building? Like if there's a 10-story building, how many feet is each floor? So like if I'm 6 foot tall, about 10 feet, right? How many feet, how many stories do you think this building on this problem is? 6, right? Because it's 60 feet, 10 feet each. So this is a 6-story building. Be very careful not to go hear the answer. Well, it's 10 feet each story, 20 right here, so that's 2. Well, the units are different. So the units do make a difference on your calculations. Even if this is the final answer, my follow-up question had to do with feet. So as soon as I said 10 feet, you're looking for the answer that has to do with feet. All right. Alright, so let's do this. I'm going to show you how to do this in one step. Instead of doing, let's convert one, get an answer, let's convert it again, get another answer. Let's do it all together. So here's another example. How many seconds are in an hour? Not in an hour.
Oh, yeah. 1 minute,
Yeah.
60.
So once again, we can't listen. So we cannot easily just convert from seconds to hours. So we need that in-between unit, which you guys figured out was minutes. So let's do that. Let's do, write it, yeah, right here, 7,500 seconds. And we know we have to do two conversions, right? We have to do seconds to minutes and then minutes to hours. So I'm going to put two blank ratios and an equal sign. So you see there's a little bit of planning here. I can't just say, well, how did I know two? We had to figure out we had to go to minutes first. That's why we have two. A little critical thinking. And now let's do the units. Now I have to do minutes and seconds. Should I put the seconds on top or the seconds on the bottom? Bottom because it needs to cancel up here. So minutes go on top. Okay? Then I need to, so now these cancel out. Then I need to convert minutes to hours. Should I put the minutes on the top or the bottom? Bottom again. So you can see how all the units work themselves out. One on top, one on the bottom. Now I can see, since all these units are canceled out, my answer is going to be hours because that's the only one not canceled. So the units have to do with your setup, and then go back after you've crossed off the units and you've shown that the units are going to work out, then go and fill in the numbers. Okay, 1 minute is 60 seconds, you know that, and 1 hour is 60 minutes. So that means on the top we have 7,500, and on the bottom we have 60 times 60. And now punch that in the calculator. How many hours is that? According to the directions, round it to the nearest tenth. So what point what? Punch in the calculator and shout it out. Whatever you get. 2 point what? 2.0? Yeah, I think it's more than that. 2.0 what? 2.05?
2.1 or 2.08, so they rounded.
Yeah, 2.08 rounds to 2.1, not 2. This causes this to go up. And the units are hours, right? There we go. So this process, how we're doing the units, where it cancels on the top and bottom, that's what dimensional analysis is. And again, we're starting with 2. This can get up to like 4 or 5. Like you have to do a lot of, well, do I have to flip it, or that doesn't work out? There's a lot of different things you might have to work on. We can do a few more. Let's head real fast. We can do a few more. Okay, here's a good unit conversion right here. 1 mile is 1.61 kilometers. So we might have to convert to see how fast they're going. Like originally we say, if we do 105 kilometers in 4.2 hours, we want to know how many miles is that per minute. Okay, so we convert, let's see, kilometers, let's cancel out, and hours, see how it cancels out here. We're left with miles per minute. So the previous page was just 1 unit, but we can be left with 2 units. It just depends on what the question is asking. They want to know how many miles per minute. We just have to make sure everything else, every other unit is canceled out. And then at the very end, just take all the tops, and then all the bottoms, and then punch in the calculator. You can see once again, just like previous sections, if you still don't have your own calculator, this is not going to work for you. You have your quiz on Tuesday. If you don't have it, you don't retake it, you can't come back later. You've had a half a month, 2.5 weeks to have get your own calculator. If not, then kind of out of luck.
What is it called?
It's all in the syllabus. It's all we talked about all week. You got to go to like Walmart, Target, Office Depot, Staples, whatever, and get the right calculator. Right? Very important. All right. So here's another one that's all set up. Let's just fill this in. We're trying to convert box of books as a mass, 4.10 kilograms for every meter of its height. Okay? You know, the box of magazines has a mass of 3 pounds for every foot in height. So you can see how this is in meters, this is in feet. Right here. That's why we need dimensional analysis. We need to get these to be the same units so we can actually compare and see, well, which one really has more mass. Right? Don't confuse, by the way, mass for weight.
Oh my gosh.
Kilograms is mass, that's just how much space it takes up. Pounds is weight, that's how much gravity acts upon it. So an object in space has 0 weight, but it still has mass because it takes up space. So there's a difference between weight and mass. Don't confuse them to be the same thing. So how many pounds? We need to go from kilograms per meter, and you can see over here we have pounds per foot. So the first thing to do is to set up these units, right? To make sure they're all the same. I want to cancel out kilograms. I want to cancel out meters. To make sure I'm left with pounds per foot. That's what we're looking for. And after I'm sure the units are all set up correctly, that's when you fill in the numbers. How many pounds in a kilogram? 1 pound, 0.45 kilograms, right above. I think most of the problems they give you, whatever I didn't show you in the beginning, they give it to you within the problem. But if they don't, Google, look up, it'll tell you. Meters, gave you that one earlier, right? So 1 meter is 3.28. So on the top we have 4.10, and on the bottom we have 0.45 times 3.28. Go ahead and simplify that using the calculator or somebody else's around you, and show me what you get. And please have this on your desk just to make sure. I want to see that you're writing it down. You're not leaving until you do have it written down and you're taking your notes. And then we'll be done. So, but please show me this before. Right? Don't close it until